Welcome back, everyone. So glad to have you with us as we dive even deeper into the world of Tkinter Treeview. You might recall from our last deep dive, we tackled the basics. We saw how to build these awesome spreadsheet-like tables right inside our Python applications.
Right. We covered creating the tree view, defining columns and headings, and populating it with data.
Exactly. But today, we're going to crank things up a notch. We're talking about pulling data straight from a database, customizing the look and feel, and handling data sets that would make Excel sweat.
It's all about making your tree views more dynamic and powerful.
Okay, I'm already intrigued. But before we jump into the nitty-gritty, could you give us a quick reminder of why Tkinter Treeview is so valuable?
Sure. Think of it this way. Tkinter Treeview lets you present data in a clear, organized way, just like you'd see in a spreadsheet, but with the added power of Python behind it.
Right, so it's not just about displaying static information.
Exactly. The real magic happens when you connect it to live data sources like databases. Imagine you're building an application to manage customer information or track inventory. Instead of manually typing everything in, you can pull it directly from your database.
So everything stays up to date automatically.
Precisely. It makes your applications more dynamic and responsive to changes in your data.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So how do we get started with connecting our tree view to a database? I've heard about this thing called Squalchemy.
Squalchemy is our best friend for this. It's a Python library that acts as a bridge between our code and the database.
So it's like a translator.
You got it. It handles all the complex communication behind the scenes.
Okay, I get it. So Squalchemy is the translator, but how do we actually give it instructions to connect to our specific database?
That's where the connection string comes in.
Connection string.
It's basically a set of instructions that tells Squalchemy where to find your database and how to log in.
Like an address for the database.
Exactly. It includes details like the database type, username, password, and the specific database name.
So it's kind of like a super specific address, making sure Squalchemy finds the right database.
Precisely. And it might sound a bit scary at first, but it's actually quite straightforward.
Is there a way to break it down and make it a bit less intimidating?
Sure. Think of it like this. The connection string has different parts, like pieces of an address. It starts with the type of database, like MySQL. Then you add the connector, followed by your username and password. Next, you specify the address of your database server, often localhost if it's on your own computer. And finally, you add the name of the specific database you want to access.
Okay, that makes it much clearer. So we gather all those pieces, put them together in the right format, and that becomes our connection string. And then we hand that string to Squalchemy, and it takes care of the connection.
Exactly. And here's the tip. Before you even start working with Tkinter, test your connection using Squalchemy on its own. This way, you can make sure everything is set up correctly before integrating it into your tree view.
That's a great tip. So assuming we have a working connection, what's the next step in bringing this dynamic data into our tree view?
Now comes the fun part. We need to fetch the data we want to display.
And how do we do that?
We use SQL queries. These are like instructions we send to the database telling it exactly what information we need.
So it's like a search function for the database.
Exactly. You wouldn't want to pull the entire database into your application, right?
That would be a bit much.
Exactly. So we use a query to filter the data and grab only what we need.
Okay, I get it. We connect to the database, use a query to grab specific data, and then how do we get it displayed nicely in our tree view?
It's like setting up a display case. First, you decide on the categories you want to showcase. Then you carefully arrange each item under its corresponding label.
So in our tree view, we'd first define the columns and headings.
Exactly. You define the structure first, and then you fill it with the data you fetched from the database.
Just like we did with the basic tree view, but now we're using dynamic data.
Precisely. You use the same principles of creating columns and headings, but now the content comes directly from the database.
This is starting to feel really powerful. We're not limited to static tables anymore. We can create these live windows into our data.
That's the beauty of it, and we can take it even further by customizing the appearance to make it even more informative.
Oh, tell me more about that. I love making things look good.
Imagine you fetched student data, including their names, classes, and exam grades. Wouldn't it be helpful to visually highlight rows based on those grades?
Like maybe passing grades in green and failing grades in red.
Exactly. That way you can instantly spot students who might need extra attention.
That would be awesome. How do we do that?
This is where a method called tag configure comes in.
Tag configure.
It lets us apply different styles to specific rows or cells based on the data they contain.
So it's like adding labels to our data and then styling those labels differently.
Exactly. You can tag rows with passing grades as pass and give them a green background. And similarly, tag failing grades as fail and style them with a red background.
Wow, that's really cool. So we're not just displaying data, we're making it visually meaningful.
Precisely. And it's not just limited to colors. You can use Tag Configure to change fonts, add bolding, italics, or even strike-throughs.
So we can really make our data pop and convey information more effectively.
Exactly. With Tag Configure, the possibilities are endless.
This is opening up a whole new world of possibilities for Tkinter Treeview. We've covered connecting to a database, fetching data, and even customizing the look and feel. What else is there?
You know, one thing that's really cool is that we can make our column configuration dynamic. Imagine you're pulling data from a MySQL table, but the structure of that table might change in the future.
Oh, I see what you mean, like new columns being added or existing ones removed.
Exactly. If we hard-coded the column headers in our tree view, we'd have to update our code every time the database changes.
That would be a pain.
Yeah, a real headache. So that's where dynamic column configuration comes in. Instead of defining columns in our code, we fetch the column headers directly from the MySQL table.
Oh, so the tree view would adapt based on the database.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. It's like future-proofing your application. No matter how your database evolves, the tree view will accurately reflect the data structure.
I like that. It keeps things flexible.
Yeah.
But there's something else we need to think about, right? Handling larger data sets?
You're right. Trying to cram hundreds or thousands of rows into the tree view would be overwhelming.
Like trying to read a giant spreadsheet on a tiny phone screen. Definitely not user-friendly.
Exactly. The solution is to introduce scroll bars.
Ah, scroll bars. Simple but effective. So how do we add those to our tree view?
Tkinter has a scroll bar widget that we can use. We can add vertical and horizontal scroll bars depending on our data.
So if we have lots of rows, we add a vertical scroll bar, and if we have lots of columns that extend beyond the viewable area, we add a horizontal one.
Precisely. We want to make sure all the data is accessible and easy to navigate.
This is really coming together. We've covered connecting to a database, dynamically fetching data, customizing the appearance, and now making it all easily navigable with scroll bars. It feels like we've turned the basic Tkinter Treeview into a real powerhouse.
Absolutely. It's a really versatile tool. And we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more we can do with it.
I'm ready to dive deeper. But before we do, can we just quickly recap what we've covered so far?
Sure thing. We started by connecting to a MySQL database using Squalchemy.
Our trusty translator.
Exactly. Then we learned how to create a connection string, which is like giving Squalchemy the address to our database.
And we talked about using SQL queries to fetch specific data.
Right, like searching for a specific book in a giant library.
Then we moved on to integrating that dynamic data into our tree view, dynamically configuring the columns to match the database structure. And of course, we can't forget tag configure.
Ah, yes, Tag Configure. That's how we style individual rows based on their data, like highlighting passing grades in green and failing grades in red.
Makes the data so much more visually appealing and understandable. And lastly, we saw how to make our tree views user-friendly, even with large data sets, by adding scroll bars.
All of this gives you the power to create some really dynamic and data-driven Tkinter applications.
I'm already buzzing with ideas, but I know there's even more to learn. What other exciting topics are we going to explore in our next deep dive into Tkinter Treeview? So far, we've learned how to pull data, style it, and make it easy to navigate. But what about interacting with that data directly? Can we edit values in the tree view, sort columns, or filter to find specific entries?
You absolutely can. In our next deep dive, we'll unlock those advanced features. We'll go from just displaying data to actually managing it within the tree view. Imagine being able to double-click a cell and edit it right there, like a spreadsheet.
Oh, that would be so convenient. No more switching back and forth between the database and the application.
Exactly. It makes the whole process much smoother. And sorting. Invaluable for large data sets. You can just click a column header and instantly sort the data.
Love that. Click Name to sort alphabetically. Click Grade to see the highest scores at the top. It makes working with data so much more intuitive. You mentioned filtering, too. What kind of filtering can we add?
We'll explore adding search bars and filters directly into the tree view.
So users can type in keywords or select specific criteria to narrow down the data.
Precisely. Like searching for a student by name or filtering for students in a specific class with grades above a certain threshold.
These features are amazing. We're talking about building some serious applications here. Managing customer databases, tracking inventory, analyzing data, all within this interactive tree view.
Exactly. And to make it even more powerful, we'll touch on advanced event handling. This gives you fine-grained control over how your tree view responds to user actions, making your applications even more dynamic.
Wow, can't wait to learn more about that. But before we wrap up this episode, I have a little challenge for our listeners. We saw how tag configure can be used for basic styling, like highlighting grades. But how else could you use it to visually represent data? Maybe different shades of color to represent a range of values, or icons to categorize data.
That's a great challenge. I encourage everyone to get creative with Tag Configure and see what you can come up with. Make that data visually engaging and tell a story. The possibilities are endless.
So to all our listeners out there, take what you've learned today, get creative, and build something awesome. Until next time, happy coding.